Good morning. Good morning. Starting a little early this morning. Going with a pregame. We'll get everything set up. I'm waiting on Elijah to get here. He left all these tabs open in Adobe. Mm-mm-mm. I don't know if he wants these open or we shall see. Well, that is loud. What did Elijah have this on? Nobody's in the pregame yet. I'm just in here chilling, talking to myself. That's fine. Gotta wake up. Ooh. Perfect. Well, this is awkward. No viewers. See if there's any audio I can pull. Hopefully Elijah gets here on time. He should. He usually comes in at like 9:04. What's up, Arlo? We got Arlo in here, and I see we got another viewer. He who shall not be named. I'm just kidding. It doesn't tell me who it is, so. But yeah. Go in here in about 2 minutes. No, not 2 minutes. Probably 3 minutes on the clock. Just starting a little early today. And we'll get everything set up. I should probably turn Elijah's mic on. Let's turn this up. What else? Probably turn that up a little higher. Turn that up. Surprised Ryan 840's not in here yet. Surprised Kobe's not in here yet. We're starting to trickle in here on a what is today? Wednesday? My days are all discombobulated right now. They all run together when you work in radio. When you work in radio and have another job, you lose track of days and time pretty easily. Oh, that sounds like Elijah. Just heard the door close. I could be wrong. No Hooksy today. Just me and Elijah. We're gonna rock it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There he is. He's bobbing his head at me. I started the stream already. Yeah. He can't hear anything I'm saying right now. I think he's going to come clock in real quick. He's going to open this door in 3, 2, 1. Maybe not. Oh, no. He's just shutting the door. Oh. Yeah, we'll go here in about 30 seconds. Maybe even before that. All right, gotta switch this over. And then we'll take off the pregame.
This is the Morning Hookup on KFOR.
The kids are back. The kids are back. Oh, watch out. The kids are back.
Welcome to it, a Wednesday edition of the Morning Hookup. Elijah Herbal, YZ, and why? It's been a long time since I've seen a pregame on the Morning Hookup YouTube channel.
Yeah, I was a little bored waiting for you to get in here, so I was like, you know what? We're just gonna hang out a little bit.
Did you have fun?
Yeah, I was just talking to myself for a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's that's dating back to the old Willie J, Will Wilson years, where we'd have a pregame on here.
Little throwback.
Yeah, that is a big throwback. It's good to have you on a Wednesday. Elijah Herbal, NYZ again. Hooksy out this morning. Some business proceedings, as far as I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe golfing. Let's be honest. Golfing.
Maybe both.
Business proceedings. Yeah, okay, Hooksy. Well, we'll hear from him tomorrow. We got plenty to bring you on a Wednesday. So we'll have Brian Munson. Couldn't make it on with us yesterday. We have rescheduled. We'll have him here in about 15 minutes on the show, talking Dylan Raiola, talking recruiting, talking transfer portal targets, bowl game, college football playoff. We got plenty to get into with Munson, as well as a big win for his Buffalo Bills on Sunday in comeback fashion. Who'd they beat?
I don't think we need to talk about that one.
I'm trying to remember. It was a big win.
I'm
trying to remember.
It's slipping my memory, unfortunately.
Well, maybe Brian will remember here. We'll get caught up with him in about 15 minutes. Coming your way next hour, the Mac, the legend, Henry T. Buchanan joins us, and I mean a top 15 Nebraska basketball squad to talk about. I'm sure T will be fired up. We'll get his thoughts on the win over Illinois. We'll get his thoughts on the win against Wisconsin, because last time we talked to him, we were previewing the Wisconsin game. So we have 2 wins to talk about, a couple days off for the Husker basketball team, what he's looking forward to in a potential top 15 showdown at Pinnacle Bank Arena to kick off the new year, January 2nd, with Michigan State. I know that's a long ways off, but we'll get into that because I need to refresh myself on my holiday schedule, what days we actually have shows. We might not be talking to T for a little bit here.
Yeah.
I'll have to talk to people that make more money than me. Figure out what we're doing.
I got no clue either.
Yeah. But that's all coming your way on a Wednesday afternoon, and we'll cap things off with some stories that we missed at the end of the show. But YZ, where we get things kicked off here, a legend of the game steps away. Terrence Bud Crawford, 42-0. All the belts, the win over Canelo, the win over Errol Spence, everything that he really could do in the boxing ring, he accomplished. He had nothing left to prove.
It was that time.
He had beaten everybody that, in my opinion, posed a threat to him.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, you step away, you find a way to take all your success in the ring and monetize it in a post-career sense. So congrats to Bud Crawford. I wouldn't be surprised that it does feel like there is a trend in modern combat sports where you do this retirement thing, but you got one more left in the bag. You know what I'm saying? Where it's, I've retired. And then 1 year later, here's the one more coming out of retirement fight to kind of bump up some interest, juice things up. We'll see. I don't necessarily think that is Bud's style. if I see Bud is he doesn't F around. That's the best way to put it. He is not the type to beat around the bush and do all these things to go make himself an extra buck at the end of the day. He's the type of guy that in the ring likes violence. He's going to train his tail off to bring extra violence every single day to the ring. He is not, I don't think, the type to be like, okay, well, if the promotion says that I'll make some more money here in 6 months if I say I'm retiring now and then come back, that doesn't strike me as him. We'll see. That has been a trend, though. But as of now, he calls it quits, says his career is done. And, I mean, you can't argue the greatness.
No, you get to call it on your own terms. You go 42-0 in your career, 31 wins via knockout. You got nothing left to prove. You're 38 years old. You're getting up there in age. It was time. I think it was the perfect time for him to call it. And he'll go down as one of the best boxers of all time. So yeah, what a career by Terrence Crawford, and it means a little more for us locally because he came out of Nebraska, and especially me coming from Omaha. I mean, watching all of his fights growing up, it's a little bittersweet.
It is. It definitely is bittersweet.
But yeah, it was fun watching his career.
And I think the best thing is, because you don't get to say this much, you never watched your favorite fighter lose.
Yeah.
That's special to say.
Yeah.
And the two reactions out there are, one, man, Bud Crawford took down everyone that came at him, and because of that, not many people wanted him. And he still put together a phenomenal career. Other people say, selective matchmaking. Let's be clear. The other boxers out there and the other promoters out there knew exactly what Bud Crawford was. They knew he was a stone cold. There's a reason Canelo was the only one that would step up at the end of his career.
Mm-hmm.
Because Canelo was at the point of his career where he was fading from relevancy a little bit. Hey, one last big payday, one last big relevant fight that'll take the world's attention. I think that's why Canelo took that fight. That's why it took so long for him to take that fight. Because I think every other promoter out there, every other boxer out there knew, if I step in the ring with Bud Crawford, it's not going to end well for me.
Well, there was also
and Bud fighting for years in the Top Rank, which, I mean, Top Rank put him where he was, the ESPN boxing promotion. It's the one that got him to where he was, and he had a lot of loyalty to them. Towards the tail end of his years where he could have been a superstar, I don't think they did him that well, because there's always been beef between HBO and Top Rank, and HBO's boxers don't go box Top Rank boxers and yada, yada, yada. I'm glad Bud got out from underneath that thumb in the last couple of years of his career and got some money fights, got the Errol Spence fight, got the Terrence Crawford fight. Got the Canelo Alvarez fight. Like, he got some big money fights at the end. Top Rank didn't help him either. But at the end of the day, you got to fight who's willing to fight you. And he beat everyone who was willing to fight him. And I think the win over Canelo left no doubt as to the fact that there was nobody else during his era that was going to beat him. He was a supercomputer of a boxer.
Mm-hmm.
And he was going to process through the first couple rounds. Then he was going to pick your boxing strategy, whatever you thought was going to work from your training camp, whatever you thought, man, this is going to be a chance to beat Bud Crawford. He was going to take it. He was going to learn it in the first couple rounds. And he was going to dissect it and pick it apart in rounds 5 through 10. And once he got to rounds 11 and 12, he was a killer in there. He was going to knock you out of that ring if he could.
There was a quote he said from his announcement video, and you talked about how I just think there was a lot of hypocrisy in his around his career, because like you said, there wasn't a lot of people that wanted to fight him, and then when they did, he was always doubted. You know, everybody always doubted Crawford. Oh, he can't keep this up. Oh, he's too small. Always too this. And that's what he said in his announcement video. I spent my whole life chasing something, not bells, not money, not headlines, but that feeling that when you get the world, that the world doubts you, but you keep showing up and you keep proving everyone wrong. And that's what I always felt from Bud Crawford. He always proved everybody wrong.
Absolutely. I mean, a diamond shine anywhere.
Yeah.
That's the quote that stands out.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about it with the team. Why does everyone doubt me? I'm just a kid from Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
No one thinks anything great comes from Nebraska. And you have to fight against it your entire career. But he also used that to fuel him, which is just kind of like what you got into. Like the doubt out there was what made him great. I mean, the story, do you remember the story that came out? It was years ago, but it kind of made the rounds again before the Canelo fight, with even his mom doubted him growing up.
Yeah.
Where, you know what, he considered himself the toughest, the baddest on the block. He was going to boxing classes, and his mom was offering money to the neighborhood kids, saying, anyone that can beat him up, I'll give you $50.
Mm-hmm.
That's how much his mom doubted him. She's like, you know what? I want to see you lose. So I don't think you are the biggest, the toughest on the block. And I think for a lot of kids that would ruin them because you just got neighborhood kids coming out of the woodwork trying to throw hands. But with Terrence, that's what fueled him through his entire career. That chip on his shoulder from the youth of, man, I'm the biggest on the block. I'm the toughest on the block. I'll beat up anyone who comes my way. Turn that into his amateur career, turn that into his professional career. You see the results, 42-0. An absolute legend, the pound for pound king from Omaha, Nebraska. And I'm curious to see where life takes him next, what he wants to do. He's not going to shy away from, I think, doing what he's done for a long time, which is giving back to the community of Omaha, being involved in the community of Omaha, being involved in Nebraska. But hey, he doesn't have to train 11 months a year anymore.
Right.
He gets to sit back and enjoy some of the work that he has built. And I guarantee you, I mean, he's going to give back to that community in Omaha, not just be involved, but he's going to give back. He's a guy that's, loves his state, loves his city. You'll see him at high school sporting events. Maybe he gets some more time to run some pickup at the gyms because he's been known to hit the pickup basketball circuit up in Omaha. He gets to enjoy his life the way he wants to. And that's awesome. He's earned it. Thank you, Bud Crawford, for the memories. Thank you for the 10 plus years of pay-per-views. Or not even pay-per-views. Some of them were on ESPN. I got to sit down and watch and appreciate your greatness. Thank you, Bud Crawford.
He won a belt in 3 different weight classes.
Isn't it 5?
It might have been 5.
I think it was 5.
I think it was undisputed in
3, won a belt in 5.
but 5 division champion. I mean, his tenure really speaks for itself. Who can we put him up with there as like the best boxers?
Well,
he's up there with Pacquiao. He's up there with
Mayweather. I mean, in terms of our era, it's Crawford and it's Mayweather.
Mm-hmm.
When I talk my era, I'm talking since 2005. And there's been some great fighters in there. Fury, Wilder, Pacquiao. Some great boxers. It's just him and Mayweather. And Mayweather might have a couple big name wins under his belt that Terrence doesn't have. But again, I don't think that's any fault of Terrence. Everyone that was willing to fight him, he went and kicked their ass.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
And he did it across 5 weight classes. To me, he is the greatest of our era. Am I biased? Probably. But I think he's the greatest of our era. Mayweather is about making money. Terrence Crawford is about building a legacy. And he did just that. I mean, that's
a good point.
That's the type of competitor we're talking here.
Yeah.
I put him at the top of our era. I think in terms of American boxers, he's on the Mount Rushmore. And let me also say, I think he's atop the Mount Rushmore of Nebraska athletes. All-time athletes come out of Nebraska. And there's been some great ones. Bob Gibson, Gale Sayers, Jordan Larson. Jordan Larson's the best indoor volleyball player of all time. I think Bud Crawford is above all of them.
I don't think that's crazy to say.
And there's been some really, really good athletes. Nebraska's an underappreciated state in terms of some of the high-level athletes it's put out.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bud Crawford stands above all of them. Personally.
Yeah.
We'll probably argue that till the cows come home, but I don't see anyone. And again, we're talking great athletes here, Hall of Famers, all-time greats like Jordan Larson. Bud Crawford, what he did for not just longevity's sake, but against global competition in 5 weight classes, doing it till the age of 38. And hey, let's be clear here. He steps away with a lot of gas left in the tank still.
Oh yeah. I mean, he just fought Canelo and he didn't look like he lost any steps.
No. He had plenty left in the tank.
Yeah.
I still will be disappointed. I mentioned the fact, like, hey, sometimes these boxers come back from retirement for one more fight, make some money. Selfishly, I still want to see one at Memorial Stadium. Just one. One fight at Memorial Stadium.
Yeah.
Fill up the seats. I want to go see it. Will it happen? Probably not. I'm still coming to terms. I'm in the denial stage. I'm still coming to terms with the fact we're not going to get to see him at Memorial Stadium because I've been calling for that for years now, both on the air, online. There would not be a bigger, I think, way for the state of Nebraska to show their appreciation for Bud Crawford than to fill up 90,000 people in Memorial Stadium to go watch him fight.
They'd have more than 90K in there.
Yeah, they would.
They'd maybe 100 plus.
That would be awesome. And I think he's got enough gas left in the tank for that. But hey, if you want to step aside now, you've done everything you need to accomplish. Look out for your long-term health a little bit.
Yeah.
More power to you.
Yep.
So Bud Crawford, a boxing legend, a Nebraska legend, Omaha's own. He sets the gloves down. Says it's time. So thank you, Bud Crawford, for all the memories. We're going to step aside here ourselves. And when we return, we'll talk with Brian Munson, HuskerOnline.com. We have plenty to get into with Brian, from Raiola, transfer portal, recruiting, college football playoff. We don't have to talk about a bowl game. New coaching hires. We have plenty to get into with Brian Munson. That and a whole lot more after the break right here on the Morning Hookup. Also have some thoughts from Dana to get into.
Do you have any audio pulled?
I'll get some. It's in Schmitty's folder. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Probably to kick off 10 o'clock hour.
Okay. Pretty sure I still have Munson's number. Yeah, you sent it to me.
A good night at the bowling alley last night, if you're wondering. Good night.
Oh, yeah.
Not great. Not the best I've ever done, but can walk away happy with my performance. We won't get into that.
Do you consistently hit like 170?
I wouldn't say
am
consistent.
I low-
Last night was, I think I averaged about 170 last night.
I was going to say, am I lowballing you a little bit?
I had been averaging over the last 2 months or so about like a 145, 140, 145, and that was down. I didn't like that. So better performance last night. Greg asks what my series was. Now I got to think. I think it's handicapped or not handicapped. That's the question. I think without the handicap, I think it's like a 490 something series, which I always want to get 500, but whenever I've been averaging like a 420, I'll take a 490 plus. Welcome back into the Morning Hookup on a Wednesday. It's Elijah Herbal, YZ, sitting in with you here today is Bill Hooks. He's handling business, apparently, or golfing. I mean, the golfing weather, I feel like we're still about 2 hours away from it today. Because it's going to be nice this afternoon. We're still in the mid-30s here. Wonder how the weather is down south. We got our guy? So Brian Munson with us, HuskerOnline.com. I just checked. 36 degrees in Lincoln. Hooksy apparently has some business dealings to handle today. We're wondering if it's golf course, but I think 36, a little chilly. considering it's going to be 45 degrees whenever we're off the air here at 11. It strikes me as a guy that is probably really doing business dealings, but you never know with him. He could just be on the course.
Well, I didn't know that he was going to renegotiate my time to go on the show when he was off the air, but I guess it makes sense if he was looking forward at the forecast and thinking whenever he could go ahead and get out the door and maybe hit the links maybe one more time before he really has to put the golf clubs away for the rest of the year. But down here, it's been spitting and misty and foggy all morning. It took me an hour to drive into my office. We're about 55 degrees today with like a high in the low 60s, and it's been kind of consistent, down here, like in the low to mid 60s, which I think probably everybody's like going, "Oh, shut up" right now. But I mean, it's definitely changed very recently to get a little cooler down here.
See, we've gotten mild. We were colder. We're looking at like mid 50s on Christmas. I've been dreaming of a white Christmas. I don't think we're going to get one. So that's for some folks out there a bit of a bummer.
Mother Nature knows I'm coming. I'm bringing the weather with me. We take off for Mecca on Friday afternoon, and I'll be in Lincoln on Saturday, and in Seward, and in Columbus, and then venturing down I-80 after that on Sunday and heading out to North Platte. So I'll be all the way around that great state here in the next couple of days.
Are you sticking through the Christmas holiday?
Are we doing what?
Are you sticking around through the Christmas holiday?
We are. No,
Okay.
We are. So I still have in-laws out there in North Platte, and my son is actually very serious with a girl that's from Hastings that actually lives in Lincoln right now. So looking forward to spending some time with her. She's actually coming back to Texas with us when we get ready to leave on the 26th, and we get a chance to meet her family on the night of the 22nd in Kearney.
You got a Nebraska girl. He got a good one. Good for him.
Well, I know. I mean, originally a Norfolk girl, then moved to Hastings. So a couple of Class A opponents for the Columbus Discoverers I'm very familiar with. So I can the Panthers and the Tigers. I still remember the mascot very, very well.
So Brian Munson with us here, HuskerOnline.com. And Brian, before we get to a wild week with Dylan Raiola news, which may have been expected, may have not been, depending on who you're talking to, I do have to ask you, what a comeback for your Buffalo Bills on the weekend against, who was it again?
Oh, yeah, it was against the New England Patriots.
Yeah,
I guess
right.
I kind of forgot that opponent. But, I mean, if you're a Bills fan or you followed them, get used to this. I mean, you're gonna probably be halfway into AFib by the time halftime gets there. And you're gonna start breathing all right with finding a paper bag and getting your respiration back, and then all of a sudden you realize that Josh Allen out there has put on the Superman cape and he is going to get you a victory. So at least that's the way things have been like through the last three games with the Bengals and now the Patriots, and before that I think it was even the Steelers that kind of crushed them, but there was another game in the middle there that was just anything but a good feeling throughout that entire game. So yeah, it's been a little nerve-wracking being a Bills fan this year, but Josh is up to some good things, except he's getting sacked a little bit too often for my liking.
Where is your pulse on this team right now coming into the playoffs? Do you think they make a playoff run?
Well, I mean, if you look at the AFC, I mean, Buffalo trounced the Steelers. They're probably going to win their division, which is just unbelievable. I didn't think that Buffalo had a real good showing against the Patriots in Orchard Park. I thought Buffalo, got away with one in Foxborough. I think obviously that's the biggest competition for Buffalo to kind of get into, the Super Bowl right now. And unfortunately, I think it's going to go back through Foxborough. I wished that there was a better feeling for how they're going to go ahead and handle Travion Henderson. I think that they found some secrets out about how to kind of tame the passing game and kind of keep May, a little bit more at bay when it comes to passing. But they have struggled against quarterback mobility, and they have struggled against the running game in its entirety. So they're going to have to find a way to kind of put some things together, whether it's going to be, hey, we're going to totally Texas Ranger it and just try to outscore people and make, hey, if we're going to score 40, you score 41, you win. Or how are you going to try to just hold Vrabel and his guys down just a little bit to keep those guys, south of 30 or just right over it, and hopefully you guys can get to 35. But I feel like right now Buffalo is going to need some things to go their way, and they did get some things to go their way on Sunday to win that game.
Brian Munson with us here, HuskerOnline.com. And Brian, let's transition, talk some Husker football. And obviously, what we've talked about all week long is the Dylan Raiola news. How I said it on yesterday, was this to me feels like a story of the direction of your program moving forward and who's going to be in control of the program. It seems to be Matt Rule has seen the last 2 years have not necessarily worked out. You have not built the offense around Dylan Raiola that you thought you could build. And I think this is a situation where you step back and you say, okay, this is my program. If you're Matt Rule, I'm going to build it the way I think is going to lead to success in 2026. And whether or not that is the best offense for Dylan Raiola does not matter to me. And you see Dylan Raiola going into the transfer portal. That's how I see it. What is your reaction to the story? Do you think I'm on the mark or off the mark with that?
Well, I think you're on the mark. I mean, I think that Matt Rule was kind of following the playbook that guys like Dan Lanning and Ryan Day have been kind of executing a little bit better than other teams. And if you realize those guys have been pretty consistent with getting their teams into the playoffs, I think you want to go back and try to look at what's making them successful. And I think what they're doing there, successfully with their own programs is they're finding these quarterback transfers, that are, a year or two, of eligibility remaining. And I'm not trying to scare anybody off from Trey Taylor. There's still a plan, I think, that you can bring Trey Taylor in and you can be within the kind of this scope and trying to bring Trey Taylor along. But I mean, I think Nebraska has really got to pay attention to what's kind of happening across college football. And I think that is looking more for that 1 year, 2 year guy, maybe a 2 year guy that can elevate himself so much and the team so much that he can kind of put himself into leaving early to go to the NFL. Those are always good things. I think that people need to realize that too. Celebrate that. When you get an Emmett Johnson that has the kind of year he has and helps put some wins on the board, you got to realize you got to find the next Emmett Johnson or the next person that's going to kind of fill that role. I think now you're trying to find that quarterback that's really going to take and elevate the program and Holgris's offense a little bit more. And I think that you have to then go back and figure out, where were the kind of things at? I think that mobility comes up at the quarterback position. I think offensive line play as a whole, I think that, mobility kind of covers up some of that. But I think when you're, if you look at the differing styles of quarterback play, whether it's, statue pocket guy or mobile quarterback, you got to have almost like perfect pocket presence, kind of, perfect protection when it comes to offensive line versus mobility kind of covers up breakdowns, and they can cover up teams that can consistently get pressure. At least it makes it harder for those guys, right? So I think that you're looking now offensively, and I think the way you want to structure things, like when you start talking about, the GM and Matt Rule and what they kind of need to have in mind, they need to go back and find a person now that's got a year or two of eligibility left at quarterback, have some mobility, have some great experience, maybe looking for a team that's got a little bit better platform, a little bit better, a better conference, looking to elevate like their game, put themselves on a bigger stage, and then fill around them, the skill position guys, which I think Nebraska's in pretty good shape. I think they could still use a guy here or there, definitely in the running backs room. But I think I think Matt Rule is figuring out you basically can't fake not having the right people to win the battle in the trenches. And that's on both sides of the football. And I think that's where play really starts in the Big Ten. So I think that there'll be some massive changes going on there. Started with the coach, obviously with the position coach change. So now you got Coach Wade there, and then I think they've made a lot of new 2027 offers. And I think they'll be very active in the portal, trying to get some additional offensive linemen into that program.
Brian Munson. And Brian, whenever you look at the future of Nebraska's quarterback position, I think we all know Nebraska's going to need to bring in a guy via the transfer portal. There's some folks out there that are happy with Trey Taylor, but in reality, the depth of that room, you're going to need to bring in another guy, whether you bring in a guy who ends up being the backup, whether you end up being a guy that ends up being the starter, you're going to need another. With how the portal works, which is kind of Moneyball for everyone out there, you're determining value for players, and you have to accept how much you're willing to pay based on the value you'll get back. What type of quarterback do you think Nebraska gets back? Do they go find that $1 million guy that wants to come in and compete for a job and is not a ready-made starter? Do you go 3, 5? Like what do you think the spending profile could be for Nebraska here? Do they go after a top guy, or do they go after a bargain guy that, hey, maybe he ends up being your starter, maybe he ends up being a depth piece? You don't really know. What direction do you think Nebraska goes in next?
Well, I think it depends on their assessment of what they feel like TJ Lateef can be. I think that TJ Lateef, we got a glimpse. We didn't see a lot. You saw the guy go in, after Dylan got hurt and kind of hold his own against USC a little bit. Then he goes out to UCLA and wins a game, and then saw some really stout competition, with Penn State and Iowa to finish the year, and didn't fare very well. And so I think you've got a little bit of a body of work, and you can kind of assess, I think, from that whether or not, TJ's a guy that you need to bring in some direct competition to kind of compete with, to say who's going to be the starter, or do you really just need to go out and say, TJ, you need more time, and, we're going to go ahead and go find a guy that we're going to bring in to be the starter. So I think it kind of starts with taking a look at that room. And I think that really it begins then with where they think things are at with TJ. I think that, things also people need to kind of remember here a little bit that, you also didn't take a quarterback in the 2026 class, and you would have been introducing another player typically into that room in January, and it's not going to happen now. So, it's kind of what you see is what you get after you kind of go through your portal window scenario, because that's going to be the room. That's the room from there on out, with just that one transfer window. So I think Nebraska's got to be very sure that they feel like, what they feel like with TJ, and if TJ is going to be told, hey, we're bringing in a guy to be the guy, from the portal, as opposed to really have you compete. We want you to compete, but, we're really thinking that we need to give you another year to develop and learn things, and we're going to change some things up and try to maximize your potential to be much more in line with the guy that we want to bring in. What's TJ's reaction going to be to that? Is he going to be satisfied to be relegated to the role of being a reserve quarterback again next year? So I think that there's some interesting storylines that can come out of that quarterback room, depending on where Nebraska kind of lands in their evaluations of who they have. Do they feel like there's a guy in that room, or do they feel like they need to go get that guy? And in all honesty, I think Nebraska is going to be very much pushing for a come in and be the guy quarterback when it comes to the portal opening up.
Brian, so Dylan made his decision to enter the portal, and part of that domino effect was his uncle getting fired from being the offensive line coach. And when you have 3 recruits in the 2026 class that are on the offensive line that were recruited by Donovan Raiola, is there a conversation that happens with those recruits, before that happens, from Matt Rule to say, hey, we're bringing in a new guy, and I know you were recruited by Donovan Raiola, but he won't be the coach anymore. What is the sort of conversation that happens with those recruits before something like that happens?
Yeah, it gets touchy. And I kind of tried to mention a little bit more in 3 and Out, because, things have been, they're gracefully kind of moving away from recruiting office guys, making offers to, Coach Wade, making the phone calls and extending the offers to 2027 players. And I think that obviously there'd be a touch base kind of phone call that's going to happen between, the 2026 committed signed guys. And I think they'll be there here, relatively soon, to where they'll have a chance to meet with the coaches and meet the new coach and kind of get an idea about how things are going to kind of work. But I think that they have to like his pedigree. They have to like where he's coming from. They have to enjoy the success, of course, of where he's been before, and what that could mean, obviously, for them, when it comes to their development. I think that one thing I tried to note this morning in 3 and Out was that, Donovan, while he is very involved, I think, with those players, after they get their offers. He doesn't really have a strong presence with like a lot of the 2027 guys right now. He's not. He's usually a guy that becomes much more of a factor like after their junior years kind of complete their junior seasons, and then he kind of gets more involved, and he's bringing the guys in the spring more when they're like on campus and doing the things. So that actually might help Nebraska out, not necessarily with the 2026 group like with Puma and Rex and Ainsworth, but I think it's going to help with the 2027 group who have really been working more with like recruiting office guys, you know, and maybe had a chance to meet Donovan when they were there in Lincoln, but didn't have a great relationship with him yet. I think Nebraska can kind of just pick up right there where they were kind of at and kind of just kind of hot cut it over to a new coach.
Brian, as you look at January and the upcoming portal window, you have new coaches, and obviously they're going through their talent evaluation process right now, seeing, hey, who can I build on for next year? Who do I need to go out and get? As you look at it from the outside looking in, obviously plenty of positions of need for Nebraska. Quarterback has now become one. Running back is a position of need. You look at offensive line, get some new guys for Jeep Wade. Defensively, I mean, you're talking D-line, you're talking linebackers, you're talking probably a boundary-to-boundary kind of sideline-to-sideline safety, as you said. There's plenty of needs. If you, from the outside looking in, were to rank your top 3 positions of need, what 3 positions are most important for Nebraska to go in and upgrade?
Well, I think they were the first 3 positions that you said. I think you got to have quarterback, running back, that's 1A, 1B, and you got to have offensive line. I think that's so crazy for me to kind of say that because I Lord knows I want to say defensive line. I want to say it being a defensive guy. I want to tell you that I saw deficiencies, but what I'm reminded of right now is what Ulrich did at San Diego State, kind of moving to a 4-2-5. I think that there's some personnel that are on the roster currently that make more sense to me in an even man front that I think that he can kind of explore the space with a little bit and maybe get like an understanding through bowl practices and the bowl game itself to try to see, you know, how they can kind of get some guys into the more traditional 1-3-5-7 techniques, you know, that you kind of see with like an even man front. So that I think is the reason why I'm kind of soft pedaling the defensive line, although I want to say it, but I'm going to go, it's quarterback, it's running back, and I might actually flip those 2 to be honest with you. And then I would say offensive line after that. I think you're going to take multiple players out of the portal for offensive line. So I think that's another reason why that value kind of stays there at 3. I think you could use a real solid nose on the defensive line. You don't have a Hutmacher looking dude. You don't have a 6'2", 315, 6'3", 320 guy. You need one. Nebraska absolutely needs one to have a stronger presence inside in that A gap, kind of on the playing the 0, playing the 1. They need a guy like that on their defensive line in the room. So I think that's one of the things I would say would also been like my 4th need.
And you talked about the fact that the vision and the plan for Nebraska did kind of change whenever Raiola showed up, and that Rhule's kind of following more of a Dan Lanning, Ryan Day type game plan, which is fair. Yeah. But now that you've finished year 3 and we're talking this many holes in the roster, things that you need to go out and improve, big picture, how much of a concern is that for you that going into year 4, there are still this many holes in the roster and a roster and a team that was supposed to be developmental, getting guys ready to go by this point in their careers?
Look, I think the landscape of college football right now has changed completely, and how you judge where a program is at, I think really reflects more on how well you kind of built your roster for the year to come. Everything is repairable. That is basically the point of my next couple of sentences. You can repair everything that has happened negatively to you this last season. You can repair and replace it. The question is, are you willing to go to what length to go ahead and do it? And that's where I think the GM comes into the equation. That's where all the different types of how the ways are you're going to go ahead and split the rev share. That's where I think things get very, very tricky. But I think if you're really managing this and you're managing it one season at a time, you do have some organic kind of things coming in, like with your high school players, because you're not necessarily figuring on the 10 guys or the 9 guys that signed, basically in December to kind of come in and play much of a role. Maybe Danny Odom, maybe another guy here or there, Jamal Rule or something like that. But I think that ultimately you're looking at like still 100 players and going, what's the best way to set up this roster? How do we kind of cover up our deficiencies that we had last year? And then if we look at the team right now, at the 100 players that we've got kind of penciled in, minus the 5 guys maybe from the class, the recruiting class that kind of make the most sense. Like how do we make this thing work on the field? How does it look? Show us the depth. Show us all the different positions. And I have to think also that there's going to be some announcements to come, like from Nebraska, like for the portal. Like, I mean, I know they've been like in their bowl game preparation and, but I gotta have a kind of a feeling here a little bit, between, I think maybe like, call it today all the way up to the portal kind of, into January, where you're going to have some more names, I think, come up. So you're going to have more things that you're going to have to take a look at your depth and understand like what your roster is going to kind of look like when the portal does open.
Brian, sometimes talking football can get depressing, but we can flip the conversation to something more positive. Both basketball teams are undefeated, and the men's basketball team is top 15 in the country, and it's no fluke.
Yep.
And we're talking about a possibility of January 2nd bringing Michigan State into town. We got a top 15 matchup at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Brian, pinch me. Am I dreaming? Is this real?
It is real. I have to remind myself that as well. And yet we all have this really bad reminder that the rug can be taken out from underneath us as much as we are enjoying the ride right now with what happened to the volleyball team, earlier this weekend. So I think the big picture is here right now is that this team is really got a strong identity. I think for the most part they're healthy. I know that they've lost a guy for the season. But I think, the big tests that they've had to face so far with K-State and Creighton and Illinois, and, I think they got Michigan State on Friday. Is that right?
That's Friday the 2nd. Yeah.
Friday the 2nd. So you've got some things coming up here that are going to continue to test. The Big Ten schedule is going to be brutal. There's zero chance that they're going to walk through the rest of the season, without suffering a loss. So just kind of get used to it. Roll with this team. I think they're still going to try to find out some things about themselves. They're peaking now. Can they stay peaking at the end of February to where you're rolling into tournament time? And hopefully this is a team that can get into one of those 6 seeds, 7 seed kind of scenarios. I think that would be that'd be a monster season for Fred and his team.
So Brian Munson with us here. And Brian, last thought before we get you out, college football playoff gets underway this weekend. Are you expecting fireworks, or are you expecting the letdown that we saw last year with all of the blowouts in the first round? What are you expecting?
I think I'm still expecting a lot more of the chalk blowouts, unfortunately. I like how you put that. I just feel like this first round still is more, I think it's a great resume builder, for some teams that are kind of making the playoff and getting into the first round and then not including like the results of what happens in the first round. So it is a very strong thing to be able to turn back around and spin it back around and use it towards portal guys in January, recruiting guys for the next year. But I think it's still going to be kind of an ugly first round and some very lopsided games.
It's Brian Munson with us here. And Brian, appreciate your time here on a Wednesday morning for once, the Audible. Enjoy your time back in God's country, and we'll talk to you when we talk to you.
I'm looking forward to it, guys. If I don't talk to you before it all happens and goes down, happy holidays to you all and your listeners. We'll see you all soon.
Thanks, Brian. There he goes. Brian Munson, HuskerOnline.com. Plenty covered there with Brian, from Raiola to transfer portal, little Husker basketball, some college football playoff. Really appreciate his time here on a Wednesday. We're going to step aside, and when we return, we'll wrap up hour 1 of the morning hookup. I tell you what, Texas Flood is such a good rejoin song. Yeah, it's just, I love me some Stevie Ray, but that song just feels so perfect coming back from a break.
KFOR. Speaking of rejoin songs,
We gotta find one.
it'd be nice if I could see what's going on my phone screen, but
Yeah, your phone is jacked. Can you show the people your phone screen?
give me 1 second.
Yeah, that is screwed up, man. I've ever told you about the time. I guarantee I haven't told you about the time. I don't know why I would have told you about this time. I was at a wedding, December 31st, which was a heck of a time for a wedding. Very happy. Robert and Amanda had a lovely wedding. Great time. But you know what happens on December 31st? This was 2 or 3 years ago. 3 years ago. College football playoff semifinals were on the 31st. So this was whenever Michigan played TCU and Georgia played Ohio State.
Oh yeah.
So at the church, I'm sitting there on like the little kneeling thing. I got my phone propped up watching the Michigan TCU game during the ceremony.
Oh yeah.
It was a Catholic ceremony, so it takes a while, So I got to watch plenty of football there.
They take forever.
And then at the reception, I have Ohio State, Georgia pulled up. And whenever Ohio State missed that field goal, there was a bit of a freak out reaction. My phone went flying, smashed my phone screen at that wedding. Absolutely smashed it. And I made it through the night and then woke up the next morning. I was like, oh, this is even worse than I thought it was last night. And had to go get it fixed because I can't deal with whatever you're dealing with over there.
Well, see, the thing is, like, this didn't even happen from like dropping it or anything. It's just old. And I guess I talked to somebody that, oh yeah, it was like a Walgreens cashier. And she saw my phone somehow and she was like, oh, that's not good. And I was like, yeah, I know. She's like, yeah, I used to sell phones. And she's like, it's called a screen bleed. And it's just like when the battery like starts to give out, it just expands through the screen. And I guess that's what's going on. She's like, you don't have long left. I'm like, yeah, I know. There's red and green lines going through the screen. So.
Welcome back in to the morning hookup. One final time here on a Wednesday. Schmitty can hear me now. He was sneezing up a storm over there. Bless you, Schmitty.
Give it like 7 seconds.
Yep.
I'll give a reaction.
He just shakes his head and walks away. Thanks for hanging out with us here on a Wednesday. Plenty to get into. Hooksy is listening to the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sent us a text during that Munson segment whenever Munson was talking about additional portal departures that could be coming. That is something we're following here. This does seem to be the week of portal departures. There is funny enough here, a South Carolina offensive lineman who has entered into the transfer portal. That's one to watch. He was a freshman All-SEC member from, I believe, the right guard spot at South Carolina, obviously recruited by Lonnie Teasley, which is a hire that has flown super under the radar because it's a secondary offensive line coach. And that's not the sexiest position to coach, and to be the secondary offensive line coach, not the sexiest position to hold on staff. But Trevon Baugh entering the transfer portal, 6'4", 337-pound offensive lineman. Again, he was a freshman All-SEC selection his redshirt freshman year. I need to make a correction here. He just finished up his sophomore year, starting 11 games for South Carolina. He is into the transfer portal. That is a name to watch, just given the offensive line coach that has left South Carolina and come to Nebraska. So we'll see what happens there. But Hooksy now Texas, keep rocking, about to walk in and close a deal. Good for you, Hooksy.
There we go, Hooks.
He heard the doubt and he wanted to make sure we know, yes, he is doing business here this morning. So it is going to be interesting to follow here what guys for Nebraska enter their name into the transfer portal. And I also believe that at this point, with the way the roster or the way the schedule of college football is currently constructed, there is going to be fewer Emmett Johnson, Keona Davis type situations where a guy enters the transfer portal for leverage and then comes back to his school.
Yeah.
If you're making your announcement now with the portal opening January 2nd, that means I would say with 95% certainty you're gone, unless the market is not what it ends up being, what you end up thinking it's going to be. And you come back to your school on a discount deal. Like that's the only situation I can see happening. Like people were asking yesterday with Dana, like, is there a situation where Dylan could come back? It's not how the schedule is currently constructed in college football. If you're entering your name now, if you're making the announcement 3 weeks before the portal opens, I guess 2 weeks, I know what that means. And to me, that means you have talked with your current school, you've decided it's no longer for you, and you're going to go out there and find your next stop, and you're not coming back. So I'll be curious to see what names enter the portal. There will be guys that you did not expect. I'll leave it at that. There's going to be guys, not only that you don't expect, that I don't expect. Transfer portal is surprise season. So we'll see what happens with all that, but I do think in the coming days we'll get some portal announcements, kind of as Brian said. That'll do it for us here in hour 1 of the morning hookup. We'll get some thoughts from Dana when we return, and then the Mac, the legend, Henry T. Buchanan, talk some Husker hoops.
Facing a family legal matter? Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life. Your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 1221 N Street, Lincoln.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life, like fences. A house with a big yard and a white picket fence was always the dream. But then you saw the price to install a fence and you're wondering if the color is driving the price up. Nobody ever dreams of a beige or a gray picket fence, right? So maybe those fences are cheaper. But no, they're not. Then you remember that switching your home and auto to Progressive could save you hundreds and make all your dreams of a fence come true. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Hey everyone, let's all stop what we're doing and take a moment. You see? Every moment can be kind of special. But they can be loud moments, goofy moments, dorky moments. It doesn't matter. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Dave with Dave's Heating and Air, Lincoln's local family-owned heating and air business.
Dave's Heating and Air is Lincoln's professionals you can trust. Whether you need service, repairs, or a new system, Dave's is here for you. Dave's wants your home to feel comfortable and cozy. Get the peace of mind guarantee and call Dave's for your HVAC needs.
Call me today at 402-480-3004 and talk with a professional. Dave's Heating and Air, doing whatever it takes.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
Chris and Carol with KFOR Morning News. The holidays are a time to create and celebrate lasting memories.
But for families with financial challenges, it can be a time of stress and anxiety.
Thanks to your generosity, for over 75 years, Operation Santa Claus has provided children in need with a toy of their choice on Christmas morning.
Light up a child's face by donating to Operation Santa Claus online at KFORnow.com or reach out to us at 3800 Cornhusker Highway, 68504.
Lincoln's local news, talk, sports, and weather station. FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR, and KFRX HD3, Lincoln.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. It looks like there will be a House vote on extending health care subsidies, but not until next year. A group of moderate House Republicans has broken ranks with GOP leaders and signed on to House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries' discharge petition that just hit 218 signatures, the magic number to force a vote on a clean 3-year extension of the Affordable Care Act subsidies. That means a vote will be scheduled, but because lawmakers are about to head home, not until 2026. The White House announcing what it says is a blockade on all sanctioned oil tankers going into and out of Venezuela. ABC Chief White House Correspondent Mary Bruce.
The administration has insisted this campaign is about stemming the flow of drugs. But in a series of shockingly candid interviews with Vanity Fair, White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles blunt in suggesting this may really be about regime change. Wiles saying the president wants to keep on blowing up boats until Maduro cries uncle. And people way smarter than me on that say that he will.
President Trump to deliver a prime time address to the nation tonight. The son of Rob and Michelle Reiner will be in court today to face charges of killing his parents.
The district attorney has not revealed what sentence they would hope to pursue in this case, but if convicted of those 2 first-degree murder charges, Nick Reiner could potentially face life in prison without parole or even possibly the death penalty.
ABC's Trevor Ault in L.A. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese at one of the funerals for the 15 people killed on Bondi Beach during a Hanukkah celebration.
As they came together at that beautiful place to renew their hope, their resilience, their belief in the power of light, the darkness of terror and anti-Semitism was cast upon them.
The board at Warner Brothers Discovery urging shareholders to reject Paramount's bid for the company and go with Netflix's offer instead. This is ABC News.
Too much on your list this season? Get 50% off your first 6 months of payroll at gusto.com/radio. Gusto saves you 2 days every month on payroll, taxes, and compliance. So you can go from making payroll to making gingerbread houses, checking your books to decking the halls, spreadsheets to snow angels. Switch before the end of the year and there's no need to transfer payroll history. Now that's a reason to be merry. Choose a future with Gusto and get more time for what matters. For a limited time, get 50% off your first 6 months at gusto.com/radio.
CVS Health supports people in the moments that matter, from picking up a prescription to connecting care. With nearly 5 million daily interactions and serving 185 million consumers and 1.5 million healthcare professionals, CVS Health holds a trusted place in healthcare. By simplifying care and improving health, we're helping people get the care they need. Learn more at cvshealth.com/investor day.
Sexual abuse allegations against a Lincoln teacher. Good morning. I'm Jeff Moats. We're at 35 degrees at KFOR. Following a 2-week investigation, Lincoln police Tuesday afternoon arrested a 62-year-old man on suspicion of sexual abuse involving multiple students at Northeast High School. Daniel Holmberg was an English language learner teacher at Northeast. He had been on administrative leave since December 2nd when LPD was contacted about the sexual abuse reports. Multiple students reported inappropriate touching by Holmberg. Lincoln Public Schools had placed him on leave once police got involved. Over the last 2 weeks, LPD's Special Victims Unit forensically interviewed multiple female teenage victims, all of whom speak different primary languages other than English. Probable cause was developed through the investigative process to arrest Holmberg on 4 felony counts of sexual abuse by a school worker. He was arrested Tuesday at his Lincoln home and taken to jail. Last month, the Lincoln City Council approved of a city ordinance to protect older adults from falling victim to cryptocurrency fraud by posting warnings at crypto ATMs citywide. These written notices would warn warn consumers of fraud risks involved by using the machines. Dylan Ranke is the store manager of the Cure CBD and Vape Shop off of 56th and Holdridge, where the first warning sticker was posted on Tuesday.
Ever since we've had these machines, our company has a policy where, if we notice something that seems suspicious, we can talk to the person and let them know, what we feel may be happening. But obviously, we're not allowed to stop them or tell them they can't use it.
20 AARP Nebraska volunteers will distribute information packets and warning stickers to about 100 crypto ATM locations in Lincoln by this Friday. A new city ordinance goes into effect on Christmas Eve. And Governor Pillen was joined last hour by the administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, Dr. Mehmet Oz, in announcing Nebraska's timeline to begin implementation of work requirements for Medicaid expansion members. More details will be posted soon up at KFORnow.com and coming up in later newscasts. Mostly sunny today, a high of 53. I'm Jeff Moats, KFOR News.
If a Lenovo computer for your business is on your holiday list, don't shop around. Just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com. It's your last chance to get exclusive deals on the PCs you want for your business, like the ThinkPad X9 14 Aura Edition and Yoga 7i 2-in-1. So avoid all that shopping chaos and price comparing, and just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com, where PCs are up to 35% off. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. With Steel, batteries are included. This holiday season, give a gift that's ready to go right out of the box. For everything from cleaning up the yard to cutting up firewood, Steel tools check off the wish list and knock out the to-do list. And right now, buy select battery tool sets and get a free extra battery. Visit SteelUSA.com for holiday deals and gift ideas. Happy holidays from Steel. Offer valid for a limited time only.
This is the Morning Hookup on KFOR.
A little Springsteen to lead us back in here. Welcome back in. It's hour 2 of the Morning Hookup. This is always one of those songs that is great to hear on the 4th of July, but it gives me conflicted feelings, because I'm like, this song is pretty not pro-American, actually, if you dive into it.
You're going to have to explain.
The whole concept is it's anti-Vietnam for the most part, and it's talking about how, because I was born in the USA, I have to go fight for my country in a country that I don't care about, killing people that I don't want to kill. It's yeah, well. it's more about the bad things that come with being born in America and how America could be better. But damn, does it sound patriotic?
Yeah, it does. The juice is flowing a little bit.
It does. I love the 4th of July, by the way. I know we're in Christmas season and everyone loves Christmas. 4th of July is a better holiday. I said it.
Wow. I don't know about that one.
Here's the thing.
I don't know if...
The weather for the 4th of July.
Okay, yeah.
Better. You know what? I'll give Christmas the food side of things, but it depends what you're eating on Christmas. Damn, do I love grilling out? I love grilling out.
Everybody eats something different for Christmas.
That's the thing.
Before the July is like, you're getting burgers, hot dogs,
chips, and a whole lot of beer.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Fireworks. I will take spending my money over fireworks over presents any day.
This is true. Yeah.
And the one thing, both holidays to me are time with loved ones. Obviously, Christmas, people flying from across the country and you get to see some extended family. That's nice and all. But you know what I want to do? I want to sit either at the lake or by the pool, drinking beers with the boys,
All right.
Blowing stuff up.
You've convinced me. Yeah, 4th of July is better than Christmas.
It is. And 4th of July, it's pretty much the same where it's a day and a half, where the evening of the 3rd going into the 4th, I'm going to celebrate, get all day on the 4th. Awesome. I feel like there's more responsibilities that come along with Christmas as well.
Yeah.
Where you're buying presents, you're going to church on Christmas Eve. You got to pick out that nice outfit because everyone's going to want to take pictures. You got to decorate the freaking house and the tree and all that. And you got to wrap presents. There's less responsibility with the 4th of July. It's just show up and enjoy your day and maybe have some things to blow up. 4th of July, top holiday in my book. Now, here's the real hot take. The food at Thanksgiving is better than the food at Christmas.
I don't think that's a hot take.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have ham on Christmas. Overrated.
Oh no,
ham is super overrated.
My family does soups.
We do soups on Christmas Eve, and then we kind of change things up on Christmas. But soups on Christmas Eve is a big one for us.
Yeah.
We're not Jewish, but we love a good matzo ball soup.
I've never had that one.
Oh, let me tell you what, brother.
We go chili, chicken noodle, potato, and you ever had oyster stew?
No.
I'm not a big fan of it, but we do make it every Christmas.
Okay.
And
if
somebody has like a new girlfriend or a new family member comes in, they have to try the oyster stew. And so the girlfriend will get to try the oyster stew this year.
Enjoy. Oh, I think oysters are disgusting. Maybe that's just me. Sorry, that's no offense to your family and your soup. I'm just not an oyster guy.
Yeah.
No. Matzo ball soup. If you haven't had it, most similar. It's like a chicken noodle, except instead of noodles and chicken, it's these big balls of, not sure what you'd call them, matzo mix, which is it's like a bready type thing. It's good. I love a good matzo ball soup. Personally,
but it's not like meat.
No meat.
Okay.
But you use there's like a chicken stock that you use. I think my dad uses turkey stock from Thanksgiving that he freezes. I think could be wrong on that, but food on Thanksgiving's better. Christmas, don't get me wrong, it's a great holiday. I love spending time with loved ones and whatnot, but not the best holiday out there. Not even close. Anyway, more important things to talk about. Apologies to everyone out there who's a Christmas lover for me just pooping all over your holiday for a couple of minutes there to start because it's not the 4th of July. But Dana Holgerson, he spoke yesterday, and we had some interesting comments from Dana. Dana's never been one to pull punches, and I think he may have pulled some of the punches he could have had. Like the right cross was open, but he just kept on throwing jabs because he knew he was up 11-0 in the 12th round. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's the best comparison to make. But some interesting comments from Dana nonetheless. Let's start it off with let's get into cut number 14 here. The offensive line. Something we talked about with Brian, the importance of building along the offensive line, the importance of having your offensive line coach and your offensive coordinator in unison. Let's hear what Dana had to say about Donovan Raiola, the offensive line that he built, and kind of what he wants for the future cut 14.
I appreciate Donnie. We worked well together, and change is hard in this profession. I'm glad I didn't have to make those decisions, but improvement. We found something in the run game with Emmett, right? There's that we could really just kind of lean on, and so I think that's a credit to him and how he got those guys up front to really do a good job in the run game. You got to do both. I mean, you got, our pass protection issues obviously were an issue, and it changed how I called it. It changed how we did things. But luckily we were able to lean on some things that made us an effective offense at times, and so, really proud of those guys up front. Justin is going to have, being able to get him back for his senior year is awesome. Pritchett's really practicing well right now. I think you're going to see him take that next step to what we thought he could be when we brought him here. Henry, Rocco, Turner's out there just, doing what he can do, and so, really appreciate those guys. And I do think that we showed improvement there. With that said, it's not good enough. I mean, we got to be better, and I got to be better. The scheme's got to be better. The results got to be better in order for us to get to where we want to be around here. That's why I say when I came here to do a job, in my mind, I don't think that job's done yet.
It was a little bit interesting there from Dana. If you read in between the lines with kind of what I've been saying, the offensive line was good, but in the Big Ten it needs to be better. Mm-hmm. Simple as that. And I think it does come down to stylistically what you want to be. And that's what we got into last hour with Brian, where the offensive philosophy changed whenever Dylan stepped foot on campus. In terms of bodies on the offensive line, you had one guy that I think from a body composition point of view, from an athleticism point of view, was ready to be a high-level pass protector, and that's Elijah Pritchett. And Elijah Pritchett's also a mauler in the run game.
Yeah.
His development throughout the year was solid. There was good development there, but elsewhere on the offensive line, true pass protectors You don't really have any. It kind of comes down to what you thought you wanted to be whenever Matt Rule stepped foot on campus, which was going to be a downhill rushing attack with a running back that can run it, a quarterback that can run it. The focus of the offense was not going to be drop back passing. And I think that if you read in between the lines there, Dana gets into that. Like we made do with what we had, but what we weren't is a pass protecting unit. So I thought interesting from Dana Holgerson. More from Dana. Let's get into quarterback. Obviously, that's the flavor of the week. And let's get into cut 4 on Dylan. Did you talk to him at all? Why didn't it work? We'll have another cut coming on Dylan's progress. But let's start off with cut 4.
I'm not going to speak on any of that. I really loved working with Dylan. He's a great kid and, gave a lot to this place for 2 years. And just look at what's going on across the landscape of college football. How many quarterbacks have popped in the portal that were starting at their school? I mean, it's the new norm. And so, I can't speak for him. And I just, I enjoyed working with him and I wish him the best, but at the end of the day, my job, my job's not done here. I was hired, Coach Roll hired me to come in and get us as good as we can on offense. And I don't feel like we're at that point right now. So we got to continue to improve, whether that's replacing coaches, replacing players, actively recruiting, but then the overall developmental process of what we're doing out there, for the last week and a half and what's going to be for the next week and a half is to take this opportunity to go play a damn good Utah team, developing and evaluating what we got and what we need.
All right, last thought before we get to Henry T. Buchanan, who's standing by in the green room. Cut 5, what did he think of Dylan Riolo's progress?
Yeah, I mean, he's a great player, man. I think, there's times where I thought we were really headed in the right direction. There's times where we weren't. That falls on me, not just from his perspective, from the whole offense's perspective. I think we're close, man. You look at that USC game, I believe if that wouldn't have happened, things were different. And I think we win that game, and I think that gives us momentum, and who knows how the end of the season ends, and who knows where we're at right now, but all I do is think about where we're at right now and what we got to do to get better.
And again, reading between the lines there one final time, that's him saying we were close to being what we wanted to be as an offense, but we didn't have the personnel to get there. And now you're taking this offseason to restructure and rethink about what you want to be, because you made the necessary steps last year to go be the offense that you thought you could be. You didn't get there. It didn't work out. Now, as you head into year 4, you have to take your lessons that you learned from year 3 and say, you know what we thought we could be offensively didn't work out. That's what Dana just said. And now you look ahead to the future and say, that didn't work out. We got to figure out an offensive identity that does work at Nebraska. And to me, that means not Dylan Raiola. Dylan Raiola was not the offensive piece that you needed with what you need your offense and what your offense can be identity-wise. It's just a marriage that didn't work out. That's why I see the situation and this portal news this week is Matt Rule saying, okay, that didn't work out. We're going to build the offense the way I wanted it to be constructed whenever I showed up, the way I run my offenses, and we're not going to build it around Dylan. We're not going to showcase Dylan Raiola in the offense moving forward. If Dylan wants to be a part of this offense moving forward, that might not showcase him as much. He can be, but if he wants to go off to a place that is going to showcase him better, so be it. That's not our plan for the future. That's, again, a lot of reading in between the lines there from me, but whenever you listen to a lot of press conferences, you have to read in between the lines, and that's what I'm doing there. Anyway, that'll do it for us here for the first segment of the Morning Hookup in hour 2. We've got Henry T. Buchanan, the Mac, the legend, standing by in the green room. We're going to take a break, and when we return, we'll talk some Husker basketball with T. You got a smile on your face today. How are you doing?
Hey, man, it's almost Christmas, man, and it's nice weather. I'm in the office this week and sunny blue skies and still in the high 70s, low 80s. Well, I guess highs has been like 81 or something like that. So the weather's good, and and it's always nice to be in office week and see some of your employees and peers. And I ran into D. Vic in the lobby yesterday and chopped it up with him. He's in the office, was in the office yesterday, and got a chance to run into him and talk. So it's always a good time to see people, because I normally just work from home for 3 weeks and then just come here for a week. So it was pretty cool. How y'all doing? How you doing, YZ?
We're good. We're good.
We were talking last segment. I want to get your take on it. I said 4th of July is a superior holiday to Christmas. It's a hot take. Your reaction?
Yes and no. From just from a financial perspective, gifts versus fireworks, it's a whole different level when it comes to Christmas versus the 4th of July.
And you're a little different down there because one of my arguments is the weather around the 4th of July to go sit around the lake or sit around the pool, like that is superior to me to the weather we get around here. But it's different down in Arizona. You have 80 degrees and sunny on Christmas, and you can sit by the pool on Christmas. That does change things.
Yeah, but you can't get in the pool. unless you have a heater, which I do. But
you had to flex those real fast.
Yeah, but
you can't get in the pool unless you're like me.
Well, no, it takes a whole paycheck to heat the darn thing. So but I do have a hot tub that I can substitute, during the winter and watch games and stuff outside. But Morgan Gregory, my guy, one winter he came, because they still come here for golf from time to time, a group of guys with Morgan. And one night he dove in that cold, ice cold pool, and then he jumped into the hot tub. He did it like twice, man. I'm like, man, you a brave soul, man, because there's no way I can do it. I can't deal with the cold. I don't even like cold water. Well, I drink cold water, but I just don't like the cold. I just don't get along with it at all.
Well, I don't know. I like Christmas. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah, but I do. I like them both. I mean, because I look at both of them, and in a sense that you get the fireworks for the kids, and you get the gifts for the kids. So it's although it's 4th of July is celebrating our nation in a sense, and then Christmas is celebrating the Lord Jesus, the birth, and so you have different reasons. Go ahead.
Welcome back into the morning hookup. Elijah Herbal, YZ, filling in this morning for Hooksy. And I know you've been counting down this week with the result last Wednesday, with the result on Saturday. Husker basketball is on a heater. They're top 15 in the country. We're going to talk about it with the Mac, the legend, Henry T. Buchanan. T, good to see you. You got a smile on your face. What a time to be a Husker basketball fan.
Oh, absolutely, Elijah. How you doing? And YZ, yes, man. It's just like football in a sense. When the football team is winning, it puts everybody in a great mood. And since we didn't have the season that we anticipated for football, and for not only the men's basketball but the women's basketball team as well, both 11-0 right now, and man, and it's winter time. I mean, I know weather is always it changes your mood swings or what have you, but Husker winning in those two sports, in those two teams, it changes the whole outlook, and it's a good time to be a Husker fan, especially if you enjoy basketball and both men's and women. So I take my hat off, or this bald head, which I do wear a hat from time to time, to both Coach Williams and Coach Hoiberg. Man, they're doing a phenomenal job this year.
Well, I just want to make sure, T. I asked the question to Brian Munson in the first hour. We're not dreaming, right? This is real?
Oh, it's absolutely. And the nation is catching on. I mean, I read something the other day is that Nebraska's in the top 4 or 5 in the nation of just watchable offenses and the way they play basketball, that fans across the nation, not necessarily Husker fans, enjoy watching that brand of basketball. And when you watch us play, it's a beauty. And then not only offensively, but defensively, and just watching how they defend and as a unit. Even though it looks like we're playing man to man, which we are assigned to a player, but the way we play it and it's almost like watching offense and defense look alike. The motion and how they, they're moving around and double teaming when they need to, making it hard on the defense. And so it's normally a person don't really say much about defense because it's not the exciting part of the sport. because offense is offense. But man, watching both offense and defense, the way it is, and the chemistry and the togetherness, man, it's a beauty, man. And to be 11-0 with the schedule that we've had, we beat some really good teams, and starting off with Wisconsin at home, who is a really good team, and definitely Illinois on the road when they were 13th, and the teams that they're played up to that point. Now we're no secret anymore. It's out there. Nebraska got a basketball team that can play, and if you're not prepared to play us, man, look out.
Husker legend Henry T. Buchanan with us here, and T, I don't want to completely zoom past Wisconsin, but Illinois is the game that was impressive from the standpoint of going on the road and getting a win against a very good basketball team. The way Illinois came back at the end of that first half, tied things up. And how many Husker teams have you seen in the last decade that, hey, something good happens on the run, you're feeling good, then here comes the run, and you can never stop the run, and you end up losing by 10 to 15 points. The maturity, the confidence, the poise that this team showed at Illinois, I shouldn't say it changed my perspective on the season, because that's not true. I thought this team could be really good. But it's the difference between a team that makes it into the tournament as a 7, 8, 9 seed and a team that makes it into the tournament rolling with a chance to go make a run. That poise was impressive, that they didn't panic. They continued their self-belief that they were going to go win that basketball game. What can you say about that?
Oh, absolutely. And that goes with the players. Not only the coaching staff prepare, let's start there, the preparation. And if you ever get the opportunity to watch them practice, you really get an understanding that the way they practice and the way they apply what they learn in practice and the effort that it takes to execute in a game, it's something that you don't see a lot, because normally teams change. Practice is one thing, and then you go in the game, you're not playing against each other, you're playing against a team, especially a team of the caliber of the University of Illinois, that have some top-notch players, has a little experience themselves, not as experienced as we are, but some experience. And just to watch those guys execute, and you know what, there's something that we don't even talk about, and that I'm noticing with this team in the first 11 games is our conditioning. And when teams normally make that run on us, we utilize so much energy first getting that lead and then trying to protect it, and then, like you said, sometimes the opponent get the momentum and it continues in the second half. But with not only their execution but their conditioning, so let's give some credit to Kurt Joseph, their strength and conditioning coach that works these guys. If you ever get to a game early, watch how he's working with each individual and how those guys, this is the conditioning part. I heard a player kind of compare Price Sanford as Reggie Miller. I know you guys are too young to ever see Reggie play live, but he was a constant motion. He was running around picks but never got tired. That's Price Sanford. And some of the other guys, the way Sam Hoiberg plays both sides, defending man-to-man and chasing the ball, chasing loose balls, getting rebounds, Jamarcus Lawrence, all of them. And not surprisingly, Rick Mass, after that year off and that type of surgery that he had, that is getting up and down the court with no restrictions or what have you, and then being able to produce every minute that he's on the floor. And the players who's coming off the bench, which you rarely see, players coming off the bench, and you're not losing anything from a momentum perspective and offense perspective. And I'm talking about Kel Jacobson and I don't know if y'all been noticing Jared Garcia. I mean, that last game he put in some work, and just to see things like that. Frager, I mean, that's that guy. He's going to be special, and just in my opinion. So just watching these guys. Burke, and I think Burke is really still trying to find his game, but I think he'll be okay. He played great against Wisconsin, and then on the road against Illinois didn't perform as well. But the next man up was Garcia, who came in and gave valuable minutes and made things happen. So am I surprised? No. I'm finally being able to say this team is just different. And I've said it. I said it earlier this week in talking with AD. I just said this team is different from the perspective that they're deep in the right ways. I mean, when they sub, there's no let off. These guys they know their system, they know their roles, and they perform it with perfection. I mean, they get it done, and it's just a really good brand of basketball that folks enjoy watching. At least I enjoy watching, and I'm sure these fans who's really catching on. And now here's the good part. Everybody and their mama wants tickets now. It's trying to get tickets to games. That's how hot this team is right now, and it's just great to see. For right now, and I think we'll continue this. And I'm with you. Definitely a tournament team. Definitely, I'm looking at sweet. And I don't want to get ahead of myself because every time I get ahead of myself, I almost feel like I jinx them. But this team is special, and I still have them. I did say the top 9, and now I'm looking at top 5, 4, 5, and they stole that win on the road, which I was hoping for. They protected home, and we got to protect home again. I'm not going to look past North Dakota and New Hampshire. Don't get me wrong. So we should be able to win those 2 games and go into Michigan State game at 13-0, and they're gonna have to work at Michigan State. And Coach Izzo know that it's tough to win at Pinnacle. And I'll be there for that game.
T, you touched on this a little bit, but the depth and just how this team gels together. You have a ton of you have 7 or 8 guys on this team who can score in multiple ways. And usually when you have something like that on a team, you might see a guy take a shot, and then you see a guy in the corner that might be open, and he might throw his hands up in the air and be upset that his teammate just took that shot. You don't see any of that on this team. No. There's a mentality of they trust in each other, and if their guy takes a shot, they're happy with it. And it's sort of like it feels like the team's mentality is the next thing, whether that's the next play. And then after they have a big win, something like, the game after Creighton, it was like, okay, we're ready for the next thing. After Wisconsin, it was like, all right, we got to go. We got to go on the road to Illinois. This team doesn't stay fixated on just little things like that. And they have sort of a team mentality behind them.
Absolutely. And they want to see each other succeed. And that's a rarity, because normally in the days era of basketball, most teams have players who's looking into the next step, the next level, the NBA. This team, number one, love each other. They play well with each other. And Coach Hoiberg and his staff has done a phenomenal job recruiting the type of players who fit into his system, who buys into his systems and buy into each other. So that's really what you're seeing. And you have a coach, a offensive genius like Coach Hoiberg, and then you have Nate, his assistant coach, who coaches the defense. And I watched the bench. You ever watch the bench and watch how those coaches, and you see Nate up, letting folks know where you're supposed to be. Don't miss your assignment, because you have assignments not only on offense, you have it on defense, and where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be there, and when you're supposed to release. And he does a phenomenal job live coaching, both him and Coach Hoiberg. But these guys are so in tune, and their basketball IQ is off the charts, each and every one of those players. And Sam, he's the key. He's the one that makes it happen. He starts it on the defensive end. And if you watch those games, we get so fired up when he gets a steal or a deflection or a crucial rebound or what have you, or penetrate, find the open man, which he's doing a lot of that this year. Jamarcus Lawrence, his pace, he knows when to push it, when not to push it. And he always had the defense on its heel. The defense is always trying to figure out what is Nebraska doing. And Coach Hoiberg does a great job of disguising some of his offense, and everybody gets open shots. Because a lot of folks feel that we're looking for price, man. But golly, you talking about on fire. I think I mentioned this week too. I said, nobody talk about Tamanaga. We talked about him a lot last year when he wasn't there. And this year, man, Price Sanford closed everybody's mind around the pass. And we're looking at how great a shooter this guy is. And not only a shooter and a scorer, and the shooting that we have. I mean, that clutch shot that Jamarcus Lawrence hit. I can't wait to get back so I can talk to him, because I've been giving him a hard time since he was a freshman that, you got to perform well in that number 10. I was number 10, and Ty Lue got it up in the rafters, but I started that number, and Ty Lue took it from me. Now you're taking it from both of us, and that shot, man, solidified everything. So I can't wait to get back to congratulate him and his team and the coaching staff in person, because they're doing a great job in making the alumni just feel great. I'm on the alumni chat, and man, you ought to see the chatter right now. I mean, everybody's pretty pumped up, man. But that's what winning does. Winning gets everybody excited, the fans, the school, and even the Big Ten Conference, because we're representing the conference. And we got 5 or 6 teams in the top 25 right now. With Purdue and Michigan in the top 10, and I think Michigan State's right there, and you have us and Illinois still there. It's but this is still a juggernaut, so we can't relax now and feel good about ourselves. And you got to take each game one at a time. North Dakota next, take care of business. New Hampshire, take care of business, and prepare for Michigan State. One game at a time, and you learn just as much for winning as you do losing. I know a lot of people say, "Yeah, I learned more from my losses." No, because you lost, So, but you learn from winning. You build on that. So, and I think this coaching staff is doing a really good job of building on those wins. No matter who the team is, they're learning each and every game.
And T, as you talk about that learning experience, what have you seen over the last couple of games where you still want to see this team go back to work, make some improvements? What are the types of things that, they haven't hurt Nebraska just yet, but they need to get cleaned up before you get into the heart of Big Ten play, because they could be issues down the road?
Well, and I even hate to bring this up, because when you look at the stat, we definitely are averaging under 10 turnovers a game, which I've always said if we commit less than 10 turnovers, 99% of the chance we're winning that game. But I still see the unforced, which that happens. That's part of the game. I've been watching some old game tapes of myself. I'm like, damn, why did I throw that pass? And so, that's just part of the game, and it happens. So number one, I just think make sure they take care of the ball, because defenses are going to start making those shots a lot more difficult. They're going to be pressuring you up close and personal, and they have to take care of the ball, because the offense, if you're constantly having to run down the court defensively from a turnover, it's going to wear you out, and it's going to break your chemistry and momentum. So I still feel, even though we're not turning the ball over too much, but I would tell you this: we are being scouted, and they are trying to figure us out. And I don't know the solution on stopping our offense, but I'm not a coach. But folks like Coach Izzo and some of these, we have a great coaching fraternity that's in the Big Ten. They're trying to figure us out as we speak. And so we're going to see different defenses and what have you. But I still feel if we take care of the ball and do what we're supposed to do, we'll be okay. But you got to value that basketball. That's the only advice, even though we're not having issues there. But I just know we have a target on our back. We're 15th in the country. We have a target on our back, fellas. So every team is going to give us the best, and we just got to be prepared for it and hit those free throws. I know we're hitting at a 70+% clip. Get up to 80. Get up to 80, man. But even the earlier free throws count just as important as the ones at the end of the game. So it's important to really focus on those free throws, because teams are going to start playing us more physical, and we may be getting more calls, and we got to be able to hit those free throws and take care of the ball. So those would be the two things that I think it's nothing to clean up, but it's something that we need to protect.
T, just a couple more before we get you out of here. And we've talked about the players, but one thing we can't gloss over is Fred Hoiberg and just his development as a coach in his time at Nebraska. Obviously, he had been a college coach before at Iowa State and had a very successful program there. But, people were calling for Fred to be fired after his first 3 years, 7-25, 7-20, 10-22. And then you see 16-16. Okay, turn it around a little bit. Now we're 23-11, 21-14. Now sitting at 11-0, top 15 in the country. Just speak on the development of Fred Hoiberg's tenure at Nebraska.
And it's not even development, fellas. He finally got the right players for his system. That's what it is. I mean, I've always been a fan. When people were crying, hollering for his job, I was the one defending him. Because I knew what the guy had. I watched him coach at Iowa State and how successful he was. NBA is NBA. It's tough to be successful in the NBA. When you're coaching prima donnas and making more money than you are, and trying to tell those guys what to do. But from a collegiate level, he's finally got the players that fit his system and who are coachable with high character. And I'm not saying his players in the past didn't have high character or anything, but what I am saying is that we don't, having a 5-star, and I'm talking about Bryce McGowan's, he was one and done. we need players who's going to stick around and learn the system and win at that level. We had Bryce Williams last year, who was phenomenal. And we had Gary, but we had more of the individual talent. So he's had more talent in the past, but not the team that buys into his system. And now his system, we're seeing how great his system can work. He's always had this system. He just had to get the right players to fit into his system. And that's what you're seeing right now. It's not his coaching ability or lack thereof. He can coach with the best of them. But any coach will tell you got to get the right players that fit your system, man, that buys in, and that's what you're seeing right now. When you hear Jamarcus Lawrence come back, he came back. He went out there, wanted to be the man. Whatever happened at Rhode Island, he came back knowing the system. He's comfortable in the system, and he's glad to be back. But they talk system. They're not talking, and if you watch the way that offense runs, even this out of bound plays, the guy can find a bucket, and people are worried about who's going to get us the bucket at the end of the games. It's not about that. We got 5 players at all times that can put the ball in the bucket. He just sets up offense, like a pro set. Here, this person's get the shot. Here's the second there. Here's the third. Here's the third option. One of those options is going to be open. And that's what you're seeing. You're just seeing coaching at his best, and he has the correct players and the right players to fit his system. That's all you're seeing. It's not his coaching. He's always been able to coach, and his coaching staff is always, with Nate from a defensive perspective. Now you have teams, you have players who's experienced. They're upperclassmen. They've been in the system a couple years, and they know exactly what their roles are and what their responsibilities are. And when you have that, it looks like, which he is a great coach, but you're just saying, golly, where was this at 2 or 3 years ago? Well, he didn't have the players. He got one player. People don't realize he got one player from Coach Mao's team, and then COVID hit. So when you talk about those first 2 or 3 years, it was tough to recruit then. He didn't have anything from the prior team. So it's going to take you a few years to get your team, get your players in there to build that program and players that fit into your system. That's all you're seeing. This guy knows what he's doing. He can coach, and his coaching staff can recruit, and they know exactly who they're looking for and what they're looking for, and that's what you're seeing. And we should see more and more of this in the upcoming years.
Henry T. Buchanan with us here. And T, before we get you out, I got one last question for you. A bit more of a hypothetical, but whenever you look at this team, the way it plays, the way the roster is constructed, go through your Rolodex of Husker history, all the Husker basketball players that you have watched, maybe some players that you've played with. Pick me one player for Husker history that would fit into this roster. Tell me why they fit and why you'd like to see them on this team.
Oh, man, there's several. One that sticks out to me that, it had a long NBA career that would be fun to watch in this system, it'd be Eric Piakowski. The way he runs and the way he can shoot it. And he's about the same size as Price Sanford and runs like him. And I mean, he would be the prototype of this offense. Or any shooter in the past, and that could shoot from the perimeter would fit perfectly in this pass. Anyone who can play defense in the pass.
So you're saying yourself, shooting, playing defense?
Well, you said it, Elijah, but I didn't want to say it. But thanks for bringing me up. But there's a lot more players than myself that can shoot it and play defense. And so there's several players who can play in the system. And I guarantee you, there's several players who's watching now, alumni is watching now. I've told Coach Hoiberg I would have loved to play for you in your system, because that system opens it up. It brings out a lot of talent that some coaches don't get out of you. And in this system, it does, both defensively and offensively. And it's fun to watch. And I think a lot of my alumni buddies would agree. I mean, anybody that would say that they would not want to play in Coach Hoiberg's system, they're fibbing. They're not being truthful. That system is fun to watch, and I would have loved to play in it. Even though I enjoyed Coach Nee's system, because we were the first team after Moaba's teams that was getting up and down the court. But we didn't, we had motion, but this just a little bit different. And back then, it was the first couple of years of the three-point shooting, where we were still kind of not bought into shooting that perimeter shot yet, and coaches wasn't really utilizing it until later. So now it's, 3 for 2s always win. So, and it opens up that middle. And we still have, and that's something that we don't talk about too, we still got guys who can post up. And a lot of college teams are not posting up. So we still got that triple threat. We post up, we shoot the mid-range, and we shoot the three. So a lot of teams don't have that luxury. And that's what you're seeing, man. And hopefully this continues, and I think it will, with this upper class type of team and this coaching staff, man. And I hope they're proud of themselves, because I know I am, and a lot of fans and the alumni is really, and even you guys. I don't even have to talk about drinking Kool-Aid, because I think everybody got a glass now and looking and loving what they're seeing. And I still want to keep on bringing up Coach Williams. She's doing the same thing with the women's team. And I think we should talk about them a little bit more, because, they have one of the best point guards in the country, Britt Prince. I mean, she's much CTV, right? So let's give them some flowers too, and talk about what they're doing as well. Some of the future. And I'd like to get both of those coaches on the show again. And I almost called Coach Hoiberg for next week, but we don't have a show next week, so we got to get him next year.
So Husker legend Henry T. Buchanan, that would be awesome. T, we appreciate your time here on a Wednesday morning. We'll get you out, let you get back to work.
Oh, yeah.
You going to be in town for the Sparty game, January 2nd?
Absolutely. I'm coming in on the 28th and be there through January 4th, and then I come back the next month for our alumni week. So I'll be there for the Purdue and Northwestern game as well. So I'll be there for New Hampshire and Michigan State, Purdue, and Northwestern alumni weekend. So you'll see me a couple months in a row.
T, we can't wait to see you. I'll get you the link sent timely today, I promise. And we'll talk to you. I don't know if we're doing a show next Wednesday, but we'll talk to you.
No, we're not. Right? I got a text from Bill last night. And
I like how you know the schedule better than I do. I love that. That's awesome. Okay, real professional around here.
Hey, man, I enjoyed talking to you guys, man. Y'all doing a wonderful job, man. Keep up the great work.
Thank you, T, and we'll talk to you when we talk to you. Have a good one.
All right, you take care.
There he goes, Husker legend Henry T. Buchanan with us here on the Morning Hookup. We'll step aside, and when we return, we'll wrap up the show, maybe some stories that we missed. Show's flown by. Is that just me?
Yeah. Speaking of Husker women's basketball, Britt Prince and what's her name? Eliza Maupin?
Yes, continue.
They were at the restaurant last night.
Oh!
Not last night. When was that? 2 nights ago.
What'd they order?
I don't know. They weren't in my section. It was Monday night. But yeah, they walked in. I was up at like the host stand, and I was like, "Hey, how can Oh, hey, how can I didn't realize she's like 6 foot.
Yeah. Every basketball player looks smaller on the court whenever they're surrounded by giants, men's, women's, whatever it may be.
She's huge, and Eliza's like 6'3".
I think you can tell a lot about somebody by their Mexican food order.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
especially at a Tex-Mex place.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like not like the true Mexican place. What's your go-to order?
Carne asada tacos.
Yeah, that's good. Carnitas is my favorite meat, though. If I'm at a Tex-Mex spot,
our Tex-Mex carnitas aren't carnitas.
No. If a Tex-Mex spot, get me some enchiladas, maybe a chimichanga, or chili rellenos.
Oh yeah, those are good. It was funny
because those are the three where you can't go wrong. The Tex-Mex spots don't mess up those three: enchiladas, chimichangas. Actually, some of them mess up some chili rellenos, but.
I was talking to the girlfriend one day about Mexican food, and she's like, "What is a chimichanga?" And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, we don't eat those in Mexico." I was like, "Really?"
we as Americans found a way to make it more fattening. Take a burrito and deep fry it, yeah. And it's so good, man.
I think she was saying she's never had a chili relleno either, but no, that was somebody else. But yeah, they were like, "Yeah, this isn't like real Mexican food."
No, we Americanized the hell out of it. Oh, yeah. And it's beautiful, man. Americanized Mexican food is so good. They took Mexican food and made it better for my palate. I gotta find some stories that we missed. Did we miss anything in sports on a Tuesday?
Tua got benched.
Yeah. Shocker. She got benched last year. Well, he kind of did, but that was more because of his brain.
Yeah. That's really all that I've seen.
Ooh, I have a story. That's
FloodX 10, Ryan 840. I work at Hacienda Real. There are 2 locations. There's one in South Point and there's one in Highlands. Give me 1 second.
One final time, welcome back in to the morning hookup on a Wednesday. KFOR FM 1015, 1240 AM, streaming online, KFORnow.com, and as always, the morning hookup YouTube channel. Find us there, catch the live stream where we have some fun, because we don't take breaks in the live stream. I know sometimes people don't like commercial breaks. Well, if you don't like commercial breaks, join us on the live stream on YouTube. Again, the morning hookup is where you find us, hang out with us for 2 hours every single morning. Before we get out of here, this is not going to be a story that we missed per se, so you don't have to play the bed music. We don't have to get into all that. I do want to talk, because we talked briefly during the break, Tua getting benched, not surprising. That Dolphins team has some issues, and it got me wondering, where do the Dolphins sit in the draft order? I was wondering, can they go find themselves a quarterback in this year's draft? It's not the strongest year for a quarterback class. If you need a quarterback and you're tanking for a quarterback, this is not the year to do it. That's the best way to put it. Do you know where the Dolphins are in draft order? Because you would think they're going to need to go figure out a quarterback this offseason.
Yeah. Are they in the top 10?
They're not.
Oof.
They're at 11 right now.
Okay.
As it stands. If you go through the top 10 in the draft order, you have a team at number 1 that I think is setting themselves up really well for the future. Now, I don't think they did great with their number 1 or their first overall pick. Not first overall pick. Their number 1 pick last year with Abdul Carter. He's good. Maturity issues seem to be rearing their ugly head with him. Can he get things figured out? We'll see. But the Giants have the number 1 overall pick, which is exciting because you have, I think, a solid framework to work with on your offensive line. You have your quarterback of the future for sure with Jackson Dart. Scattaboo is an exciting running back to work with. You have some good edge rushers. That defense, despite the 2-12 record, is fine. You can go pair number 1 overall. What are you going to go get? I don't know. It could be a position where the Giants can back out of the number 1 spot and pick up some draft capital. Because you could probably use a secondary wide receiver to pair with Neighbors. I like Theo Johnson at tight end. Defensive back, but I don't think there's going to be a defensive back in the top 5 that you're going to be going after. Your edge rusher seems fine, so you're not going to go get what's his name from Miami. They could use a right tackle. Is there going to be one there at 1 overall? I don't know. We'll see how that plays itself out. I was going to get into more draft thoughts, but we have someone hanging on the line here.
Yeah, we got Ernesto hanging out.
Ernesto, good to hear from you, buddy. I didn't know if you're going to call in today. You're calling us late.
Yeah, I'm getting slammed. Everybody wants to get their test in before the end of the year so they can meet their deductible. But, hey, I actually called for you, Elijah. Been thinking a lot. I want to make a bet with you. Broncos, Jags, straight up.
Oh, man. Can I take the Jags?
Well, I figured you'd take the Broncos, but it may be a moot point. But here's what I'm proposing. We'll figure out the details. I'll give you some points if we have to. But I want a candle from you if I win.
I could potentially make that happen. I don't have any candles ready to go. I need to make some for Christmas. That has been my plan for like a month for Christmas gifts, and I have not made any candles. So I got to figure that one out. If I have some candles made, regardless of what happens Sunday, I can send you one.
Will do. You got to think of what you want from Jacksonville, and I'll send some stuff like I used to in the old days.
I want a chicken parm sandwich from Wawa's. That's what I want.
Oh, man, that's going to cost me a ton to get it there fresh. When you come down to the Players, I'll take you there every day.
I've been meaning to make it down to the Players for a long time. One of my favorite golf courses.
I'll get you tickets. You make it happen. Get the young boys down there. We'll leave the old man out. We'll just take his jet. And speaking of him, the story that has been missed, hey, it's catering season. And don't forget, the freshest gift is a gift card from Slim's Chicken. Whee!
Just free advertising. Okay. Free advertising on a Wednesday. It's Ernesto calling in. Good to hear from Ernesto. We got, 30 seconds left here? Let me round out the draft order here. Raiders at 2. They need a quarterback. Titans at 3. Don't need a quarterback, but they need a hell of a lot more. Browns at 4. Couldn't tell you what they're going to do. And then the New York Jets round out the top 5. They definitely need a quarterback. I think Dante Moore might be a good pickup. Could be available from there at 5 if he announces. Anyway, that'll do it for us on a Wednesday. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll have Hooksy back in on a Thursday. Plenty to talk about. Maybe some portal announcements. We'll see. All that's coming away on a Thursday edition of the Morning Hookup.